we're starting a deep dive, looking at a specific source, William Boericke's Homeopathic Materia Medica.
Right, and we're zoning in on Artemisia vulgaris.
Mugwort, yeah. So the idea is to really unpack what this historical text, this system, says about it.
Especially its use for, well, convulsive conditions. It's quite a specific viewpoint.
Definitely. So what's the first thing Boericke really flags about mugwort?
Well, its primary reputation in his text is pretty striking. It's listed mainly as a remedy for epilepsy.
Epilepsy specifically.
Yes, and other convulsive diseases too. He even notes its relevance in childhood and, interestingly, for girls around puberty.
So focusing on certain life stages.
Exactly, where these issues might be more likely to show up, according to this view.
And does it get more specific about the type of epilepsy?
It does, actually. Boericke mentions petit mal, those very brief, sudden lapses of consciousness,
Okay.
and also epilepsy without an aura. So seizures that just happen, no warning sign beforehand.
Ah, so they were really trying to differentiate the presentation.
Seems like it. Matching the remedy to the specific manifestation.
What about triggers? Did they note anything that might set off these episodes?
Yes, that's covered too. Things like after a big fright or other strong emotions.
Okay, emotional triggers.
Right. And it also lists after masturbation. Plus, it mentions cases where you see several convulsions happening close together, one after another.
It paints a picture of the kind of context around the seizure.
Precisely. The circumstances that might point towards needing this specific remedy in their system.
Now, beyond convulsions, I remember reading something quite unique linked to mugwort in this text.
You're probably thinking of the somnambulism.
Yes, but it wasn't just sleepwalking, was it?
No, it's very specific. Getting up at night and actually working, like doing tasks.
And then no memory of it.
None at all in the morning.
Yeah.
It's quite distinct. Boericke even compares it to coliphos for that particular symptom.
Wow, that is incredibly detailed.
It really is. And that level of detail carries through to the physical symptoms listed.
Like under the head section.
Yeah, it mentions the head being drawn back, sort of spasmodically.
Yeah.
Twitchings.
Okay.
And the mouth being drawn over to the left side. Also, congestion of the brain. You get a real sense of physical tension.
And the eyes. That section had some peculiar points.
It really did. There's pain and blurring of vision, which it says is better from rubbing, but worse if you actually use your eyes.
Standard enough, maybe, but then
Then the really odd one. Colored light causes dizziness.
dizziness from colored light. That's hyper-specific.
Isn't it? It makes you wonder about the observation process. And importantly, there's a warning too.
A warning.
Yes, that is considered locally and internally injurious to eyes. So caution was advised.
Good to note. What about other systems? Female symptoms.
Strong connection to menstruation, profuse menses, violent uterine contractions, even spasms during menses are listed.
So linking it to specific physiological cycles.
Exactly. And under fever, it's brief but memorable.
Let me guess. Something specific.
Just profuse sweat, but with a very distinct smell.
Which is?
Garlic. The sweat smells like garlic.
Okay, that's one you wouldn't forget. These defining sensory details really stand out.
They certainly do. The text also mentions relationships comparing mugwort to absinthe, senna, cicuta.
Which likely means?
Other remedies probably considered for similar nervous system or convulsive issues, suggesting alternatives or comparisons within their framework.
Got it. And finally, dosage.
First to third potency is listed. That's relatively low dilution in homeopathic terms.
Okay.
And there's this interesting historical side note. Said to act better when given with wine.
Huh. A product of its time, perhaps?
Possibly.
Yeah.
So wrapping up our look at Boericke on mugwort. It's this detailed picture, isn't it?
Yeah, from major conditions like specific types of epilepsy and that strange working somnambulism.
Right down to garlic-smelling sweat and dizziness from colored lights. It shows how they linked diverse observations to build a remedy profile.
It really does. And thinking about that extreme sensory detail, like the colored light dizziness, what does that specific level of observation suggest to you about how these old materia medicals were put together? Something for you, the listener, to consider.